Hey guys, this is the Kayak Preacher, just coming to you. Just want to say welcome back to the channel. Appreciate everybody that's supporting the videos. I know this is probably going to be video number 2. Hopefully get some more videos out before long. I'm trying to play catch up and different things, but I thought today that I would do a walkthrough of my kayak. My good buddy, if you ever get a chance, go check out his page. It's God's Country with Brian Nips. I was talking to him about my kayak one day, and he said, man, I think it'd be good if you would just do a walkthrough video of your kayak. So that's what I'm going to do today. And for most of you that'll probably watch this, you'll know a lot of everything that I'm talking about. But if not, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail and just give you everything I got. So here we go. All right, so kind of a bow to stern look. I've got the Hobie PA 14. Sand dune color, I guess is what you call it. I've got it registered. I've got a motor on the back, so here in West Virginia you've got to register them. Even you got to pay your taxes and all that good junk. But 14-foot boat, super stable. I stood up and fished in this thing all day long, and I'm 5'11", 200 and almost 40 pounds, and stood up in this thing with very little effort whatsoever to stand up and down. But I keep my net up here on the bow. As you'll see, it's just easier to grab. I can just lean up. I've got this Yak Attack paddle holder here, roto grip. So I just keep it out on the front, keep it in the grip. In the hatch, I keep a lot of my useful stuff. Like today, I kept my frog togs in it. And I ended up getting my frog togs out because it just came a rain out of nowhere. But I keep my spare baits. Like today, I was fishing some jerk baits, and I didn't throw any of these gillies. I took them with me, but I didn't really get to throw them. The water was still yet too cold, and the fish really aren't moving and aggressive. They're not really in full pre-spawn mode yet, so I haven't got to test those out. You'll see on the front of my kayak, I've got Yak Power, and I've got it's the Bluetooth version, but I opted for the pad as well, just because there's a lot of times where I've had where my phone wouldn't connect. So I like the hard wire. I've got button lights up in the front here that you'll see, like for this summer whenever we start fishing at night. So you got bow, and then you've got some mid ones. And I don't have any in the back yet. I do have a whole nother set to put in, but I just haven't done it yet, so no biggie. Garmin 93 SV. I thought about putting in the Panoptix Live Scope this year. My brother really likes his, but I haven't spent the money on it yet. That may be an upgrade for 2024, Lord willing. But we'll see how everything goes. This year I've upgraded, and I went to these Tacticam Fish Eye Cams. I got one here in the front, and I've got one in the back on a Yak Attack boomstick, which is really good. I mean, really handy, fits right in the rod holder. So you can see it gives me a good over-the-shoulder view of everything that I'm doing. Today was actually the first day that I got to fish with all my cameras, so we'll see how that footage turns out after a while. So on the Hobie PA 14, I decided not to go with the 360. I opted to save a little bit of money, and mainly because I do see a huge gain, I guess you could say, in the 360 drive. It is really awesome. I've seen my brother's. He's got a 360 PA 12. It is awesome in wind. You can get in and you can navigate places where with mine, with the Mirage 180, it's got the kick-up fins, but the 360 can get you in and maneuver in places where you wouldn't normally be able to maneuver. And I tell you, the reason why I went with the 180 is there were several people that had issues with the 360 drive, with the belt, with the bearings, different things. But I also had talked to some people, some good friends of mine, that say if you have a motor, you're not really going to use your 360. So that's kind of why I opted to go with the 180. And I tell you what, I've had it out on the water several times, and I could not be more pleased with this boat. I think it's everything that I need, and I definitely have zero buyer's remorse over it. I love it, and I think I've just about got it panned out the way I want it. Obviously little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, I had a good time fishing today. It was comfy. Fished for about 5 hours today. Caught some fish, but most importantly, I had a good time doing it. So we got the cameras, we got the cup holder, comes stock with the Hobie. The vantage seat is awesome. I love this seat. The seat is just great. You know, you get some lumbar support. It'll come in, it'll come out. The seat will raise, the seat will lower. And what you'll see under mine is I keep these, I guess you call them flambeau half satchels, I think is what they're called. But I keep all my plastics in here. What you can see is this one's got like my worms, my lizards, my flukes, drop shots, shaky heads, those kind of things. And then my other ones are simply just my crawl trailers. And that's pretty much what I keep under the seat. I wear the Onyx life jacket, always keep it with me, keep it on. Fish tournament fishing in the past, you know, you have to wear your life jacket, your PFD at all times. So I just got used to doing it anyway, and that's just how I feel comfortable now, and that's just what I do. So this one, I added this accessory not long ago. It's just the big tackle bin. And I'll tell you why, because I am notorious for getting a lot of soft plastics or cranks, and I take all my stuff and I throw it in a bin, and I have no idea what I have at the end of the day. So what I did is I bought this bin, I put it in, and I see a lot of people, they'll set them off to the side. I opted to put mine on the inside. And I tell you why is just because I can flip those little bungees, I can open it up, and I've got these little trays that I took out of some of my rigid toolboxes in my garage, and man, they just work perfect. Keep all my soft plastics over here, keep all my hard baits, my jigs, my chatterbaits, my cranks, all that kind of stuff in here. And then I keep my tape, my plug knocker, you know, spare spool, all that kind of stuff. I keep it over in this one. Obviously my Tacticam remote, which controls all of my cameras. I have 3 of them, one in the front, one in the back, and then I've got a third one that I keep right by my seat just for what I tried to do was underwater photo release type stuff, close to the water, just that kind of thing. But that one remote will control all 3 of these cameras once you sync them to the remote. It'll turn them on, it'll turn them off, it'll pause them, it'll restart them. You know, it's really awesome. And the remote is supposed to handle up to 5. I've got 3 and have had 0 issues out of it so far. So I've been really pleased with it. Keep going back. So these rod holders that come with the Hobie, I mean, these come stock with the Hobie. And what I like about them, what I didn't like about them, I tried to put them on the inside, but my rods, my bait casters and spinning reels and just different things, they just seem not to work right. So what I ended up doing was flipping them around, and I just keep my paddle here. I know a lot of people say, well, why do you keep your paddle back there, you know, where everybody else does? Well, when you look back here at my crate, you can kind of see why I don't keep my paddles back there. So I keep it right here just in the event I need it. It's tucked in, it's locked in, you know, and just one-handed I can lock them in, I can unlock them, just different things. So I'm pleased with this setup. It doesn't get in the way of anything, and I just like it. Coming on back, so this is where I keep my 50 amp hour lithium battery for my Newport NK180 trolling motor. I keep it in here. I've got the trolling motor plug there, makes it easy, just quick disconnect. I've also got a 30 amp protector switch in there, that, you know, a cutoff switch that I can turn everything off, and I usually do. Just as soon as I get done, I go in and I flip that switch, and before I start, I got to go in and engage that switch. So far, I've had this motor for about 1.5 years now, and I absolutely love it. Coming on back this year, I upgraded to the Sorry, trying to get everything undone. The Yak Attack Black Pack Pro, 16 by 16. And I've got all 6 rod holders on here, and in this boat, 9 times out of 10, I don't even use all 6 rod holders back here. Because a lot of the times I'll just shove my rods in the rod tubes, leave them on the deck, at least on one side. But I tell you what, I've kept these on here and I've used them at different times, and they are super, super handy. And I feel like when you put your rods in there, they are strictly secure. And you know, this is the only one that I put the tether on. And with these new rod tubes that Yak Attack came out with, I have not used these, which I keep all of my rods and reels. I've got them to where they'll float. If something happens, you know, if I were to tip or flip or anything like that, they'll float. But I'm really amazed at these things. And I like the design. I just haven't used them. And I could see where they could be very, very handy, and very, very helpful. Let me say it that way. On the other side, I should have done that before I came over here, but I keep my flag right here on the back. I've got a Yak Attack Visipole that I screw in the back, and that's what I love about this Black Pack Pro with the grid lock system. You can go in, you can mount stuff wherever you want to. You know, I've moved these rod holders, I can't tell you how many times. Moved them forward, moved them back, moved them to the side. And that's kind of where I've landed at right now. So, but you come on over here, and this is my Catch Carbonate measuring board. I love this board. It is awesome, very visible, never had an issue seeing anything. And I love how they have the numbers at the top. That way, if your fish covers up the numbers down here, which they usually do, you can come up here and still get a good look, a good view of what you got. And then what I did is I took these are like, this is a Yak Gadget bump board holder. And what I did was I took it, and it's got the track screws on it, the T-bolts. So what I did was on the rod holder itself, I just unthreaded the bolt and ran it through just like this little hole right here. Let me see if you can see it. So there's a hole just like this right here. So what I did was I ran that nut through there, or that bolt through there, and then just put the nut on it, and stays secure, stays right there. And you know, right before I get ready to go, because these things can be a pain sometimes, these little bungees, so always make sure you undo those before you take off, because I've been in tournaments where I had to go all the way to the bank with my fish on a leash just because I got to the place where I couldn't get the bungees undone, so I had to go all the way to the bank and undo the bungees just to be able to measure my fish. But you come to this side, so here's my NK 180 motor that I've got. I've got it set up on foot-controlled steering. And what I did was I got an innovative, I think it's an Innovative Sportsman's package little thing that they had the foot control, had the, I forget what they call this cable. It's really super awesome cable. I had it on my Wilderness Recon 120. And I really, really like that kind of cable. But this whole kit, I think I had to order these 90-degree track mounted adapters. I think this was all I had to order, but I tell you what, I love the fact of, you know, just hands-free, you know, just foot-controlled steering. I love it. It moves my motor and it allows me to just troll. But I've got it set up on a pulley system, and what I've done, I used my Anchor Wizard on my old kayak, and I was just like, man, how in the world can I use this thing on this kayak? I don't really anchor a lot because I fish a lot of lakes. Now, when I'm fishing rivers, I'll use a drag chain a lot. But on this one, what I ended up doing was taking one of the mounting plates, and I cut a piece of starboard to bolt the Anchor Wizard onto. But I just use this to raise and lower my motor. I mean, it's super, super simple, super easy. And, you know, just with the turn of a handle, you know, just right up. and then just letting it off nice and easy. So far, I've really liked it. I'm still kind of modifying some things as to where they are, especially how this line runs in. So I'll have to tinker around with that, because you definitely don't want any drag when you're trying to do that, and you know, bowing on your handles or anything like that. So still some work in progress, but we'll get there. Here's the control. I actually fashioned this out of a Ram phone mount, 1-inch balls that we had. You know, an inch size ball up here, inch size ball down here. I think that's size B in Ram, I think. Interestingly enough, if you get these Hobie mounts like this, it's got a bolt slot in the very bottom of it that you can usually get a screwdriver in or a drill and pull that screw out, and then you've got your own Hobie mount that you can put whatever you want to on here. And all I did was run a straight 1/4 bolt into this ram ball, and then off to the races I go. So here's the throttle for the NK180. That's about, I don't know, 30%. There's reverse. I will say this: if you get the Newport NK180, it's a super awesome motor. I love it. I mean, it is just great. And on this battery, I can't even remember the name of this battery. This is not a big name battery. This is not a Dakota Lithium. This is not an amp battery. You know, it's not any of these big name batteries, but I came across this one, and I can honestly say, as much as I have fished, now, let me make this little caveat. When I fish, I don't run my motor wide open all the time. I may run it wide open to get from one side of the lake to the other. That's about it. We're not out west where I'm not fishing the Delta. I'm not fishing huge lakes. I'm not down in Tennessee where these lakes are massive. Most of the lakes that fish around here, you can literally motor from one side to the other in about 2 minutes, maybe. So I'm not going to say that by any stretch of the imagination, do I fish big lakes. But at the same time, this battery, I have fished with it all year last year, and I think I only charged it twice, and neither time was it dead whenever I charged it. Now, I can try to find the name of the battery, but I can tell you what, that is by far the absolute best battery that I've ever come across. It's not went dead. I've had 0 issues out of it. You turn it on, it's dependable, it works, and it seems like it stays charged, and I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, Hobie PA 14, this is not my first kayak. I have upgraded throughout the past several years. I actually started out in an Ascend 12T, moved up to a 128, then I moved up to a New Canoe Flint. I went from a Flint to a Radar 115, then I went from a Radar 115 to a Recon 120, and then I just sold my Radar 115 and Recon 120s, just sold them this year, and went and bought the Hobie PA 14. And I'll tell you what, if you're in the market for a new kayak that has awesome stability, that has everything you could ever need or ever want, right here it is. And I understand why this is, like they say, this is the top of the line kayak and yada, yada, yada. And you know what? They're absolutely right. I mean, this thing it's built like a tank, and I absolutely love it. So hope you enjoy the walkthrough of the PA 114. Look forward to putting out some more content throughout the year. Fishing videos, devotionals, whatever we decide to do. Just looking forward to just getting more content out there. If you like this video, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.